Good morning, students. Let's continue with our discussion about maxims of good writing. We have discussed how to make our language easy for the reader, and there we talked about the length of the sentence, the subordination and coordination in the sentence, and the ordering, the end weight and end focus principle maxim that is suggested by the linguists. In our this class, we are taking the remaining 3 points. Next point is to be clear in writing. It means that we should avoid ambiguity and obscurity in expression. Our written piece should not be ambiguous. It should be clear. If there is possibility of more than one suggested meaning, it will not be possible for our reader to get at the meaning, or he will be disturbed. He will have to change his focus and try hard to understand what we have written. So we should be very careful about it. For this, it is necessary that we use appropriate grammatical structure and vocabulary. Structure we have discussed. Here our focus should be on the choice of vocabulary. There should not be any doubt and delay in interpretation. The reader should be able to understand as he reads. For we are taking an example. The woman cried at Ahmed and his brother started to weep. So what does it mean? The woman cried, and whether the woman cried at Ahmed alone or Ahmed and his brother. Split phrases also cause delay in interpretation. It is to split elements which belong together in meaning, and this causes discontinuity and makes the flow of meaning difficult. For example, such accidents have occurred in factories since 1974, of which 44 have been fatal. The correct form should be such accidents of which 44 have been fatal have occurred in factories since 1974. So the first expression is not clear, but the second expression makes the meaning clear. And what we have done, we have only placed the things which are associated with one another together. Next, to be economical. In writing, to be economical means avoiding unnecessary words because they do not give new information, they are only burden for the reader. There should not be any loss of meaning, remember, from the sentence if in the name of being economical we remove any word. The activity through which we save words and simplify the structure is called reduction. Reduction is to simplify your expression, to express yourself in the least possible words, or in simple words we can say reduction means to avoid unnecessary expressions. The simple form of unnecessary expression is repetition. If you repeat the same thing, then it is only a burden for the reader. It may be achieved by using proforms and ellipses. Proforms and ellipses are very much effective in making our expression economic. For example, the thieves must have smashed the glass and the thieves must have broken in. Here we can use the proforms. For if we write it in this way, the thieves must have smashed the glass and they must have broken in. They, by using they, we have avoided the use of unnecessary repetition of the subject. So in this way, by making good practice, we can make our expression more clear. Next point is to be effective. Effectiveness is the most important quality of communication. That is what communication wants to achieve. And we can sacrifice or compromise with the other principles, other maxims, but effectiveness is the must for communication. Actually, the earlier three principles, easy flow, clarity, and of economy, are related to efficiency of expression. Their aim is only to make our writing efficient. Efficient expression must be effective communication. Linguists say that for effective communication, it is necessary to make good use of all the functions of language, not merely of the referential function of language. Not only the information should be given by the language, but the other information regarding our emotion, regarding our socialization, regarding our maintenance of relations, all these things should be added to our language. All the maxims can be observed for the sake of expressive repetition for effective communication. This expressive repetition can be presented through elegant variation, that is to use alternative synonyms. Alternative synonyms, alternative words, alternative expression, so that we can avoid the monotony. Otherwise, our language will become uh, very boring. There are some expressions like proper nouns and technical terms which cannot be varied and are likely to be repeated in the writing. We should not try to supplement the name of a person using the other synonyms for the sake of variety. It will not work. It will confuse the reader. So the proper nouns and the technical terms, they should be used as many times as necessary. Elegant variation, that variations after proper thought, is a virtue that avoids the tedium and boredom over repetition and switching from one synonym to another. Variation is the strength, and linguistic variation of all kind are good in writing, as long as it is consistent with other goals of writing. The variation may be in lexical choice, the variation may be in length of sentence, in position of subordination, between subordination and coordination, in type and position of adverbials, and in type and position of modifiers, adjectives. We can do experiments, mix our expression for these points. But first, after expressing ourselves in written form, we should read what we have written and we should try to edit it to make it more effective. If the opportunities of variation are used, our expressive range, that is the expressive range of our language, will be wider and it will not remain limited to some stereotype formulas. So variation is very much important. We should try to express ourselves in new words, in a new ways, in a new styles. But we should also be careful that the meaning, the clarity, and the effectiveness of the language is maintained. So, applying these principles, we can say that we can write properly and effectively.